Howdy guys, Rock Papa here. Hope you guys are doing well. You know, last time we talked about metamorphism and we generally looked at the three stages or facies of metamorphism. Greenschist facies, Amphibolite facies, and Granulite facies. We called them low, wet, medium, moist, and high, hot, dry, or something like that. We didn't go into detail about what happens to minerals when they're subjected to these three kinds or stages of metamorphism. So that's what we're going to do today. What happens to quartz with greenschist facies metamorphism? What happens to quartz and Amphibolite grade or facies metamorphism? And same for Granulite. What happens to Biotite during these three phases? K-spar, K-spar, sodium-rich Feldspar, those sort of things. We're going to look at those, and this is going to have a lot of detail in it, so it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I'm doing it just basically to get the documentation out there, so that you and I can use it as a reference when we need to. If this is confusing, don't worry about it. Hang on, because the third video that's coming up on metamorphism, all will be revealed. All will be made clear and simplified. Because then we're just going to talk about the different rocks that form with the different three stages or facies of metamorphism. But for now, let's look at how metamorphism affects specific minerals and see what we come up with. And hopefully this video will be useful to you. If so, please subscribe, and that would help me immensely if you can. And thank you so much to all my excellent subscribers. So here we go. Metamorphism and minerals. So just to review last video, we discussed three stages or facies of metamorphism. Excuse me. The first one is greenschist facies metamorphism, characterized by low temperature, low pressure, and abundant water availability. And next up is Amphibolite grade or facies metamorphism, characterized by moderate levels of temperature, pressure, and moderate levels of water availability. We called that medium moist, I believe it was. And finally, Granulite facies metamorphism, characterized by high temperature, high pressure, and scarce water. We called that high hot dry or high hot damp, something like that. But you get the picture now. Let's go into a little bit more detail on these. Greenschist facies metamorphism is all about hydration. There's plenty of water available. The temperature is not high, so the temperature doesn't drive off the water. So the water will chemically combine with a lot of the minerals to hydrate them, and that forms new minerals. These new minerals are stable at greenschist facies, and they are characteristic of greenschist facies. Amphibolite facies metamorphism really has two stages, so to speak, or sub-stages. First is a kind of a semi-stable transition stage where hydration stops and dehydration begins. But I'm going to characterize Amphibolite grade or facies metamorphism as dehydration, because once temperature and pressures reach the upper levels of Amphibolite facies, you get some interesting changes that in the minerals that are characteristic of Amphibolite facies metamorphism. And finally, Granulite grade or facies metamorphism is about super dehydration. No hydrated minerals can stand this facies of metamorphism. So you get only anhydrous minerals and big crystal growth. Here is our complicated but colorful table representing Greenschist facies metamorphism. Really the main things to remember here are that quartz is stable, no change in it. Muscovite likes this Greenschist phase, so it is very stable. And minerals like potassium feldspar, I call K-spar, and clay minerals that don't like Greenschist facies do get hydrated and turn into Muscovite and or its finer grained equivalent cerussite. And very significantly, Biotite, Hornblende, pyroxene, and olivine get hydrated or more hydrated and turn into greenish minerals that are characteristic of Greenschist facies metamorphism. In Amphibolite facies metamorphism, dehydration begins and interesting minerals result. Quartz is still stable, but it has recrystallization. The crystals get bigger and it participates in metamorphic banding. Potassium feldspar that did not like Greenschist facies loves Amphibolite facies. It is stable and it also will participate in metamorphic banding. In Amphibolite facies, Muscovite and clay minerals get dehydrated and that turns them back into potassium feldspar. Sodium feldspar, mainly albite, and biotite are also stable at Amphibolite facies metamorphism. Here you start seeing a lot of garnet, mainly almandine, and it can form from several minerals, mainly calcium-rich feldspar. Hornblende is one of the few hydrous minerals that's stable at Amphibolite facies metamorphism. Hornblende is a kind of amphibole, and amphibole gives its name to this facies of metamorphism. Pyroxene gets hydrated, turns into hornblende. Olivine can also get hydrated to form serpentine, and you'll notice I put dunite up there. That's a mistake, but it's a big hard graphic to remake over again, so I hope you guys will excuse that boo-boo. Now in Granulite facies metamorphism, which is rock hell and mineral hell. No hydrated minerals can withstand that. Any hydrated minerals that hung on in Amphibolite grade metamorphism get dehydrated, and so you end up with funky kinds of rocks called granulites, and usually they have big crystals because in this phase crystals do grow larger. I'm not really going to dwell too much on granulite facies, mainly because granulite rocks are fairly rare. If you go out there to collect rocks and you pick up a rock, the likelihood that it's going to be a granulite is super, super low. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Like I said before, if this is confusing to you, hang on, because the third video on metamorphism is going to be vastly simplified, and I think it'll be something we can all keep in our minds and use. By the way, making great progress on the Rock Image ID Key app. Did a bunch of testing on it and had to fix a bunch of problems, but it's working good now. Still in the testing phase, and I'm fixing to convert the project into an app with the help of my best programming buddy, ChatGPT. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. In the meantime, this is your Rock Papa saying happy rock hunting. Pop out.